The reading this morning comes from the book of Ecclesiastes, and it's going to be the end of chapter 11 and the beginning of chapter 12. The book of Ecclesiastes. If you have a Bible and you want to look at it, I would certainly invite you to do that. So a little bit of background from the book of Ecclesiastes before I read it. It is attributed to King Solomon, and I think that is very likely the case, although Solomon, I'm sure, had advisors and scholars in his midst that probably contributed to it. But knowing what we know about Solomon is that he was the third in a series of three kings who reigned in Israel when they had a relative period of stability for 120 years. And his father, King David, was primarily a king who fought wars, as was King Saul before him. And so when Solomon finally came to reign, he was reigning during a period of stability. And what that enabled Solomon to do was to expand their economy, to build trade relationships, and it was a period of great wealth. Building, they built the temple, they built Solomon's palace. He devised a way of organizing their nation and a taxation plan that enabled them to thrive. But because this was a period of abundance, it also led to a series of problems for Solomon. He started off well, but then he ended in disaster. As the kids say, mo money, mo problems. And that was certainly true for Solomon. And you can hear it as you read and listen between the lines from the book of Ecclesiastes. So I'm going to be reading in Ecclesiastes chapter 11. And I'm going to start in verse 7 and read into verse 12, chapter 12. Sweet is the light, and it's pleasant for the eyes to see the sun. Even those who live many years should take pleasure in them all. But they should be mindful that there will also be many dark days. Everything that happens is pointless. Rejoice, young person, while you were young. Your heart should make you happy in your prime. Follow your heart's inclinations and whatever your eyes see. But know this, God will call you to account for all of these things. Remove anxiety from your heart. Banish pain from your body, because youth and the dawn of life are pointless too. Remember your Creator in your prime, before the days of trouble arrive, and those years about which you'll say, I take no pleasure in these. Here ends the reading. Those things too are pointless. Now I want to say a little bit of a translation note. The Hebrew word that translators are trying to get to the heart of its meaning there is hevel, pointless. Some have said that it's better translated as mist or vapor, right? It's not something that you can hold on to. You can see it, you know it's there, but it's going to be hard to control. And that's what Solomon was really saying about all the different aspects of life. Enjoy the days of your youth. Drink deeply from them, but know that it's not going to be something that you're going to be able to hold on to. You know. Senator Ben Sasse from Nebraska, he got in trouble. He gave a virtual commencement speech to some high school students in Nebraska. And he said some things that got him, they had to apologize. The school had to apologize. And when I listened to what he said that got everybody upset, I understood. He was trying to be funny. And as somebody who tries to be funny, it almost inevitably will get you into some kind of trouble. Because humor really is always at either somebody's or some group or some thing's expense. And that's why it's often said that the safest form of humor is humor that is at your own expense. But what he said was this. He said, I'm going to say some things to you about your high school years in this commencement, but you're not going to remember anything about your high school graduation. He took something that is really special and important in the moment, and he pulled back the curtain. Do you remember your high school graduation? I mean, what about it do you remember? I mean, I graduated in 1987. It's been well over 30 years ago. And I try to think about that night, what I remember. My last name is Humans. So I know that I remember sitting way in the back. We were on a stage at the Bartlesville Community Center, and I was in the very back row, and somebody, I don't remember who, was playing cards. You know, whether it was solitaire or blackjack or something, but they were playing cards with each other in the back while the ceremony was going on. That's kind of all I remember. I remember our speaker was African American, but I don't remember anything he said. Now, that may be on me. You may remember more about your high school graduation than I do. But I sort of understand what Ben Sass was saying. Is this moment that you're in, it seems important now, but moving forward, it's probably going to be something that takes a back seat to what is going to be unfolding in your life. King Solomon, in what was most assuredly his old age, says to those who are young, drink deeply from the joy and the wonder of being young. But remember this, you're never going to be able to hold on to it. And remember that God is going to keep you accountable for every decision and every experience that you make. Now, as followers of Jesus, I think it's important to take note of that, but also to balance with the comfort that we get in knowing that there is great grace that we receive from God. And so that you as young women and young men, yes, you should drink deeply from your youth, and you should take risks and, venture out and know that you'll be held accountable, and also know that you'll be given God's love and mercy and grace as you go forward. We have a group of 5 high school graduates this year from St. Paul's. And I know because my son's one of them, Noah Humans. And then there's Carly Herndon, there's Max Hill, and there's Lauren Paik, and Emma Christ. That all of us at St. Paul's, that we want to be your church family, not just a church family of your past, but a church family of your present. We want to hope and dream with you. And I hope you know this, that we will always be a resource for you. Whether it's emotional, friendship, mentoring, contacts, whatever it may be. St. Paul's wants to be a family who helps you as you move into your future. It's become our custom on these Saturday morning devotionals for Nathan Guilford and I to play a song. This is a song that I wrote years ago for teenagers, and it's a song called Pretty Good Time. This is my blessing for all of you as you move out of high school and into your futures. Oh. We will have a pretty good time. May our lives shimmer and shine. A teenage heart that wants to laugh, turn around, it wants to cry. Jesus asks me what you want, and I think I want to be happy. I must give my so give me grace, keep me fearful. We will have a pretty good life. Guard your heart, keep your balance. Rise up for what could lie ahead, a natural high.